Hello YouTube. So today I would like to film my 80,000 mile ownership review on my mother's 2018 Infiniti QX60. Now we bought this car brand new back in October of 2017. We got almost 20% of MSRP and this car has all the options. Now I think this has been a fantastic car for the time we've owned it. Here's the interior. Now, I did clickbait a little when I said it had 80,000 miles. It really has 78,341. But this car is going to be sold soon. And I really did want to make a ownership review on it before we sell it. So, for the back seat. And honestly, it's held up really well. On the interior, this still feels like a new car, even though it's not. And with this one having all the options, it does have a lot of features in the interior. Like these front seats are heated and cooled. You have your back seat TV screens. You have your heated rear seats, 3-zone climate control. You have your dual sunroofs, which the front one opens, the back one does not. And in the back, obviously, you have a third row, which I am not going to bother putting up. Now, the big reason why we're selling my mom's Infiniti QX60 soon is because my dad ordered a 2025 BMW X5. And once that comes, he will be giving my mom his 2023 Acura MDX, which means that we will no longer have any use for this QX60. So anyways, back to the QX60. Now, this specific one on the exterior is not in the best shape. Like, if you can see here, there's a scratch. In the back, I'll show it real quick. There's actually a dent, which we partially got fixed. We still have to buy the minor reflector there. But yeah, I mean, other than a few cosmetic imperfections, I still think this feels like a really premium vehicle, even to this day. Although this infotainment screen, even for the time back when this car was new, it does feel a little dated. So that's not the best. So as far as powertrain goes, I really like the engine in this. I'm not the biggest fan of the transmission. So the engine is a 295 horsepower, 3.5 liter V6 paired up to a CVT automatic transmission. Now, I really like the engine in this because obviously it makes good power, but I do feel the transmission, the CVT in this is not the best transmission for this engine, because I do think the transmission does tend to not have the best reaction times, which hinders acceleration in the QX60. Like, this car, 0 to 60 is almost 8 seconds, which is obviously not that good. So I'll say that's a flaw, but otherwise it's been an amazing car. Tons of space, like even in the second row, there's great space. This Infiniti actually has more interior room than its successor, the new redesigned Infiniti QX60, and it has more interior room than our 2023 Acura MDX. So yeah, here's the back. I can put up the third row real quick. So yeah, here's the third row. Now in the back you have the power folding seats to fold up the third row electronically. But the way I did it, I just did it manually, and even the trunk of this is good size. So it's been a great car. As far as reliability goes, it's been pretty reliable for the most part, but we did have a couple of problems at 72,000 miles, which we ended up getting both of these fixed in one shot, thankfully. But our transfer case for the all-wheel drive system was making a weird noise. So that was the first issue. And the second issue is for the driver's seat, just this heated and cooled knob, it wasn't working. So we just got both of those taken care of. Obviously with this being Infiniti, it costed us a fair amount of money, but and that car's been pretty reliable. And one thing I've actually just noticed is I do see a little bit of aging on the driver's side front headlight lens. Let me check the passenger side. So yeah, I do think this top part, you can't really see it right now, but it's easier to see in person. But the top part of this headlight is starting to wear out a little bit, like it's getting a little yellow, and you can see slight condensation. Which, other than that, I do think build quality wise, this Infiniti is a very well built vehicle. I really can't complain about it. Especially considering we got this car for a really good price back when it was brand new. But even today, 7 years later, on the interior, it still feels like a new car, as I mentioned earlier. And honestly, this Infiniti drives just as good as it did when we first got it in 2017. Like, the ride quality on this is still super smooth, and yeah, overall, I've just been very satisfied with this vehicle. I really like it. Although, yeah, we don't really need it anymore. And fun fact, actually, during the pandemic years, this was our only car. We didn't have another car. And obviously, after the pandemic, my dad bought his 2023 Acura MDX because we needed a second car. Which, in the future, I will actually be filming a 30,000 mile ownership review on that Acura. Now, as far as vehicles we've cross-shopped with this Infiniti when it was new, the main ones that we looked at were the Honda Pilot, the Acura MDX, and the Toyota Sequoia. Now I see we researched others and stuff, but the main ones we cross-shopped are the Honda Pilot, the Acura MDX, and Toyota Sequoia. Which, the Acura MDX at that time period, 2017, 2018, we weren't a fan of the dashboard in it, so that was kind of a deal breaker for us. The Honda, it just wasn't what we were looking for. It's a great vehicle, the Honda Pilot, don't get me wrong, but it just didn't feel as upscale as this Infiniti does. And with the Toyota Sequoia, also another great vehicle, but it's a gas guzzler and it's just much bigger than what we needed, so this Infiniti was the way for us. And honestly, I'm really glad we got this car. It's just been an amazing vehicle to own these past 7 years, and even to this day, my mom still loves driving this car, and yeah, it's great. Now, obviously, another imperfection on this car, as you can see, is there's a little bit of rusting here, which, to the car's credit, this isn't the car's fault. The little bit of rusting here and here, this isn't the car's fault. That is actually our fault for scratching the car and never getting it fixed. Which, we had our fair share of reasons, being that it was during pandemic time and body shops were closed, so yeah. And by the time we were able to get to it, we just bought another car, which is our Acura MDX, as I've mentioned already. We just bought that instead of worrying about this. And yeah, I'm just gonna get in the back seat one more time before I wrap up this video, because even as an older car, this thing just feels good to sit in with the wood trim and everything. And this second row is very spacious. Now, I'm not a tall person, but even for taller people, the back seat is pretty spacious. So yeah, overall, really can't complain about this car for the most part. The only thing I will complain about is the CVT transmission for not being the best. Like, I wish it was more responsive, and I also wish the driving dynamics on this QX60 were better. Like, even though this car is very comfortable, it definitely drives like a bolt. But the Acura MDX of the time obviously handled a lot better while having just as good ride quality. But then again, I feel like the MDX of the time did not have as nice of an interior as this Infiniti. So yeah, obviously this car is not one bit sporty, so that's really the only thing that I would have liked to be different about this car. But otherwise, this SUV is fantastic, and they are really well priced on the used car market. So even used, I definitely do highly recommend the first gen Infiniti QX60, which is 2013 to 2020. The facelifted ones are 2016 to 2020. Like this one's facelifted, and the pre-facelifted ones are 2013 to 2015. Though the 2013 ones are called the JX35, not the QX60. But yeah, honestly though, I actually like this QX60 better than the new one, just because I actually got to ride in the new Infiniti QX60, and I think even though they improved the transmission for sure, I think they just completely ruined the ride quality on the new Infiniti QX60s for whatever reason. And even though the new QX60 obviously has very good space, it's just not the same as this Infiniti QX60. So that's gonna wrap it up for the 80,000 mile ownership review on my mom's 2018 Infiniti QX60. Overall, a fantastic SUV. I highly recommend it, and I will see you all in the next video.